In Tinkercad, each shape that you pull out usually comes with its own specific set of options. So for instance, we have this cube here and we have the shape menu, and right up at the top, you can make it a solid or a hole. And with the shape, you can also change the color. They have these preset colors, or you can do the color wheel, which is under custom. So let's say I want a shade of blue. I click blue, and now I have all these different shades of blue I can choose from. All right, so we'll just pick one that's a little lighter and go with that. All right, so now I have my color. With this particular shape, this cube, you can change the radius of the corners, makes it a little bit more rounded. Notice that it gives you a number, so if the actual curve matters to you, let's say you're putting a couple objects together and you need them to have the same exact radius, you can just take a look at what you ended up choosing here and make the other one the same. What steps does is how many angles it makes to get to that radius. All right, so the distance from here to here is the roundness is supposed to be 2.39, but I'm only doing it in one step. If I change it to 2, you can now see that there's two distinct sections. There's two sections there. So the more you raise it, the more sections there are till you can get so high that it basically looks rounded. All right, the other options here for the cube are just changing the length, for instance. So you could just do that. Oh, let me Control Z that, which is undo. You can do that here as well. All right, so that is the cube shape options. You can radius all the way to 20, which basically makes it a circle. So if you're looking to make your cube a little more rounded, you would go through the shape options. Now, all of these have different options, and depending on the shape you bring out, you might have some pretty cool ones. I'll show you one definite cool one in a second. Right now, this cylinder has 20 sides. If I were to go around, I could count 20 different sides. But if I reduce it, you can see it's boxier now. I can go all the way down to 12. Or I can go all the way up to 64. Which if you zoom in, you can still see the separate sections a little bit, but it's way rounder. Bevel has to do with the top. You can see that it kind of rounds it out. And if I go all the way up, it bevels it down pretty far. Segments deals with how many times the bevel moves, how many sections the bevel has. Think of it that way. So much like it worked on the cube, you can see now there's two distinct sections in the bevel. And if I go all the way up, it makes it completely round. All right, it looks more, especially if I pull it up here, it looks like a wood dowel. All right, so that's the cylinder's shape options. You can do this with sphere and roof and all of them. Whenever you pull out a new shape, you should check out and see what you can do in terms of options. Now, I had mentioned there's some cool ones. If you really start to get creative, you might find something like, I think it's extrusion. Let me pull this guy out and check out the options here. This one has a little grid. Let me move it over so you can see it a little better. If I take this and pull it out, oh, look at that. It looks like an alien head. And then I can even twist that so it moves a little to the left. So depending on how fancy you want to get, you can really do some cool shapes with this thing, especially if you're looking for something very specific. Take adjustable box, for instance. Look at all the options here. These are just like the regular length, but if I want to adjust the thickness of the bottom, which is the bottom down there, you can't really see it, but the bottom is getting taller or shorter, just the bottom. The closing walls, you can see what it does to those. So, like I said, each object has its own specific set of cool things you can do with it. And it really helps you be pretty creative when you're trying to do some things in here. So always check out your shape options.